Hey everyone, welcome to Book of Katherine. This is how the Cosmopolitan cover with the plus size model and the body positivity movement is paid for by the 1% and the health industry, the Wall Street for-profit health industry. As we know, most media today is paid by the AstroTurf industry. And astroturfing is basically paid advertisements, paid articles. Do you remember when we started hearing stories about how they're going to start mixing in paid articles and paid advertisements in with the headlines? There were paid headlines that were like actually advertisements in with the headlines. And that was really just an introduction into all the headlines just being paid, either by a country or a foreign government. The articles themselves are just pretty much paid headlines now at this point, and you can trace all of them back. And there's an excellent book on it by Cheryl Atkinson called Smear that traces all these articles and things back to the political organizations, and they're both on the right and the left. And she traces back all these different political organizations and all the different movements, things you hear on the news or things that you see in the New York Times and things like that, back to their 501(c)s and back even further up into who pays for them. And so I wanted to talk to you about why the Cosmopolitan cover and the body positivity movement would be a paid advertisement and why they would be pushing body positivity for obesity and not for, the missing limbs that it used to be. Body positivity used to be about something you can't change, like you lost your legs in a car accident or you didn't have an arm, and making you feel positive about those sorts of things. Why is it about obesity now? And why is it that the plus size cover model is saying, my health is none of your business? And I can say from personal experience as someone who's been in these hospitals and who has a lot of friends and who has had a lot of friends and family members who are obese, that's because that she's on a lot of medications. You can't get to that weight without being on medications. You need medications to sustain that weight. So blood pressure medication, in order to have that weight pumping through your body, your heart is not built to have that weight pumping through your body. And one of the things that we've learned is that Congress passed a law that says that your pharmacy cannot tell you if your cash payment for a prescription will be less than your copay. And so these prescriptions that, so it's much more profitable for you to be on prescription medications. 60% of the prescription medications out there today are actually much cheaper than your copay. And so, like, for example, for me, I've been on prescription list this long, right? And when I found that out, which was only a few weeks ago, when I found out about that law, my husband started asking the pharmacy every time we check out, like, is this cheaper by cash? And our pharmacy bill went down by 50%. That's hundreds of dollars a month we could have saved. Hundreds of dollars a month we could have saved. Now, when you get obese, then that's a prescription that you get to get on, and that's profit they get to make on you. If your copay is $10 to $15 and it's really $3.44 for your prescription, that's an incredibly huge profit they get to make off of you. It's a massive cash cow because the health industry is no longer just, hospital industry. It's now all the health industries. It's owned by insurance companies, and the insurance companies are owned by Wall Street. And Wall Street owns it just like a corporation says, make profits for us, and they want to see a 20% profit increase every single year. They want to see that profit increase every single year by 20%, and they push them like, how can you get profits going up? And so what they do is they say, get research done that pushes and push the doctors to do less procedures, keep the patient sick, and do more prescriptions. Now, how do you do that? Well, one of the ways that you can do that is by getting healthy people to get on prescriptions. What's one of the best ways to get healthy people onto prescriptions? The number one way you can get healthy people to get on a prescription med is to have them overeat. And what's one of the best ways you can get healthy people to overeat is by putting them on a Cosmopolitan cover and saying it's beautiful. and saying there are no issues with my health. But I'm here to tell you, here are the issues that it does do with your health. As someone who has lived at 300 pounds and who has known it, here are the things that they don't tell you. Number one, if you ever get sick, your doctor, when you walk into the office, will only see your weight. They will not see any of your other symptoms. All they will see is your weight, and they will think all of your symptoms are attributed to your weight, or they will not prescribe any treatment to you until you get rid of your weight. They may not say it, but they're thinking of it. Also, there are a million things that you can get for your symptoms, but you have to qualify at a certain weight, and they won't tell you that. But I found that out. Until I hit a certain weight, all of a sudden, I was cleared and green-lighted after 10 years for a ton of treatments. And my doctors just said it when I hit that weight. They're like, well, now you qualify for this. Did they tell me that beforehand? Did they ever tell me, well, if you lose weight, we might be able to qualify you for these procedures? We might be able to qualify you for this PT. We might be able to qualify you. They never said any of that. Because doctors just assume that nowadays that, if you're supposed to lose weight, and if you want to lose weight, you're going to lose weight. They've just gotten tired of the battles in the office. And I also, number two, hospitals are putting it into play that they will not treat you for having pregnancies. They won't even assist you in getting pregnant if you are obese. They require a body mass index of like below 30 or something like that, which almost no one's under today. And hospitals are just saying it's too great of a risk for them, and lawsuits and things like that. And really, it just means, they want to depopulate the earth. We know that through Agenda 21. But they're just like, oh, we're just not going to help you get pregnant. They'll offer pregnancy services to everybody else underneath that obesity limit. But if you're above obesity, you won't help to they won't even offer you counseling high-risk pregnancy, because if you are obese, you are high-risk pregnancy. Number three, mobility. What they're not showing you on these covers of Cosmopolitan is that when you are that obese, your mobility decreases at an enormous rate. If you try to walk today and you go ahead and put weights on yourself, go ahead and put dumbbells on yourself, can you move more or less? There's no difference in being a higher weight. There's zero difference. Now, we have learned from my research and from my PT and all these things that if you don't move, you die. So that's why they say when you have higher obesity, your mortality rates decrease. Like you die a lot younger when you're obese. Yes, from cancer. Yes, from heart disease. But part of it is mobility. You have to move to live. You have to move to live. And the more you gain weight, the less you move, the more you don't move, the more your muscles atrophy, and muscles atrophy at a super fast rate. At a super fast rate. I'm able to move more now, but it's not, for example, I got my spine procedures. If I had muscles, I would be able to probably take a shower. I can't take a shower. I still have to do body baths. I can do them differently. I can do them out of bed, but I can actually stand up and actually do a full wipe down and stuff like that. But getting into a shower is treacherous for me right now because I don't have the leg strength and the muscles in the legs to hold me with stability. I'll slip and I'll fall because I don't have any muscles in my legs. You lose functionality. You need muscles to function, to get in and out of a car, to go grocery shopping, and horrible things like online shopping and subscription services have made it easier and easier to have lower and lower functionality rates, which makes obesity easier and easier to take over your life. You have to stay active. And people say, oh, go hiking, oh, go this. I say just go shopping. Go thrift shopping if you have to, but go shopping for your food. Go shopping for your food. You can do like hire someone to like do the shopping for your food or something like that. Hire a kid or whatever to do shopping for half your food, and then just shop. Try and get out once a week to shop out for like one thing of food, like just for your Diet Cokes or something like that, or just for your waters, and just do that, or just for your vegetables. Get out and do at least one piece of your shopping. It's so important, and wear nice things when you do it. Wear nice things. I told you about all I can go is like across the street, right? Like out my driveway and across the street. And I was talking to the guy the other day, and he couldn't believe that I lived across the street because I was dressed to the nines. I was dressed in my vintage stuff, right? He thought I was like from out of state or something like that. No. I'm like, if I can leave the house, I'm going to get dressed up. Get pretty. Wear the big hats. Wear your vintage stuff. Get pretty. You're going to look forward to going outside a lot more if you get dressed up. Going outside should be a beautiful thing, when you turn heads, when you leave the house. And that's the fourth thing, I think on number 4, is that you don't realize how much everything, they only make pretty things for people who are a lower weight. They only make pretty things because the larger you get, the more material it takes to make the item. And so they have to put all the money into spreading that material this wide. And so when the material gets smaller, they can put more money into actually adding on details. And so you get much more beautiful clothing when you're smaller, even in the thrift shops. And finally, moving hurts less. You have more energy. Are you going to be seen as beautiful? Of course you're going to be seen as beautiful. Should you love yourself at every weight? Of course you should love yourself at every weight. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about should you feel. That's one of the things that really concerns me are these people who speak back to the body positivity movement and they just yell and they shame. I don't believe I wouldn't go about it that way. Like yelling and shaming and things like that. I think it is about being realistic. Like there was a time where we hit this nice thing about just being realistic and being scientific and factual about things. But right now it's like these poor women have a choice of either being with people who will shame them and yell at them. Like if they go into that community, they'll be shamed and yelled at, so they can't go into that community. Or they'll go into a community that tells them to never change, they're beautiful the way they are, and don't get healthy. And if you lose weight, then you'll be shamed. Oh, and here's the final part that no one will tell you about. You make more money. You make more money when you're lower weight. And you may be thinking, I'm crazy. No. Let me tell you why that is. In America, the people with the money is the Democrats. 75% of the richest families are liberals. The top 10 billionaires in America, 8 out of 10 of them are Democrats. They donate to the DNC, Jeff Bezos, Zuckerberg, Google, Oracle. They're all major Democrat donors. Warren Buffett, all liberal donors, right? The Koch brothers are actually libertarian. The people that they fund online are actually liberals. They actually fund open borders, so they're not traditionally conservative. There are no conservatives, up in the top 10 billionaires in the United States of America. You can't find them. So the elites of this world, if you go to New York City, you will not find the elites of this world hiring, overweight real estate agents. You will not find them bringing overweight. When you see them in Hollywood, hiring overweight people, it's under affirmative action laws that they hire overweight people. They hire overweight people for affirmative action, under affirmative action, because now they have affirmative action in Hollywood. So when you're watching a Hollywood show and you're like, why are these people on here? I'm not enjoying watching them. They don't have as much talent, or they are not enjoyable to like watch at all. You know, they just seem to stick out. I'm watching this talented person, and then I have these three people that are not talented, and I'm not enjoying watching them. They're not entertaining, and that's affirmative action of some sort or another. You know, because they didn't earn it. Not that Hollywood's fair or anything like that, but there are some. I only watch really quality shows, and I've noticed that these quality shows, they can't hire just quality people anymore because they have to hire affirmative action. You know, that means they show that I don't watch the crappy shows, so maybe in the crappy shows it actually takes them up a notch. You know, but you know, when you take away freedom of choice, it's you know, that stifles creativity. And so it's scary when you start adding affirmative action to creative decisions. But it's also scary when you realize that means it's pity, you know, that they're hiring. It's in liberal circles, they are not friends with, and they do not enjoy, and they do not respect obese people. They bring them as the funny one to the party. They see them as the handicapped kid. This is actually not the case in my group. I'm trying to think about my group. My group actually has some anorexic people in it, unfortunately, and it has some overweight. Gosh, my group really does have the range in it. And both of them piss me off. I can't seem to be able to heal either. Then again, I don't try that hard. Who am I kidding? I've tried, but I tried to give freedom of, you know what I mean. That's just my friends. But yeah, there is a thing of like, you really have to be aware that, you know, Hollywood has these handicap projects, and they view, you know, people with a weight problem as the handicapped kids, you know, the disabled kid at the table. And so when it comes to being hired for a gig that pays a lot of money, and that comes down to being paid well, or being an engineering position and things like that, they're not going to hire you for that in the creative arts and everything like that. Why is that? Because they don't think that you have self-control, and they're not going to trust you with their money. They're not going to trust you with their money. They're not going to trust you with their designs. You notice it on the runways. They're just like, oh, there's the one out, and they're all like, oh, you go girl. But it's always in some underplay, just like you see, like when you see the way that they treat the entertainment with the Black community. If you look at how entertainment used to be in the Black community, it used to be very respectful, very educated. And now all of it is drama. It's all it's all stereotypical. They've made a stereotype for the Black community, and now it's as if you would think the Black community just argues, and just all there is drama and and catch a weave. You know, as if that's what every Black person is interested in, like they're all ghetto fabulous or something like that. You know, and that's exactly how the liberal elites think of them. It's as if plantation owners, that's exactly how plantation owners saw the Black community. And wouldn't you know it, all the media has made the Black entertainment as if, you know, they've relegated them into that corner. Well, that's exactly how they treat obese people. And since they control the wealth in this country now, they have not allowed, they've locked down on American businesses, and American businesses don't have a lot of wealth. And American businesses will treat you equally. They're like most affirmative action. One I thought was very interesting, because the Republican base, it turns out, the Republican base is immigrants. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So the Republican base is like much more accepting than the liberal base is, because it's liberals won't accept any, you know, refugees into their churches. They'll flood towns with them. They'll flood cities with them, but they won't bring them into their churches. And that's what I mean. When it comes to hiring you, they're not going to hire you, not unless it's by force. and you won't be able to eat at their table. You won't be able to get their money. And so when it comes to getting a gig where you're going to make money, they're going to be wondering, can you control yourself? And they think that's through food. You'll notice that the elites themselves are at a healthy weight. So I want you to consider all of that. Like when they put someone on a cover, it's not out of really praising them. It's not out of really thinking that they're beautiful. It is merely an ad campaign because they know that's going to make Purdue Pharma some big time money on the backside. And the elites are just like, oh, thank you, adding to our coffers, while none of them gains weight. While they are all size 2 through 6 at their country club parties. And they're just laughing as America gets fatter because they're making so much money. 100 million Americans are now obese. That's a third of the nation. And people think, oh, well, that's not 50% of the nation. You are discounting children. You're discounting children. And that just means they're not obese yet. Because they're moving right now. Children are moving. And once they hit 18, they stop moving. But they keep eating what their parents have put them on. And their parents have put them on the most convenient food there is. And the most convenient food there is sugar. How did I lose 150 pounds in the last year or 2 years? I did it by eating protein. I did Ideal Protein, the protein diet, which is what Americans, it turns out, used to eat in the 1950s before the food pyramid was introduced. The food pyramid, which it turns out was created by an anthropologist, not even a dietitian. And how did it get put into the Food and Drug Administration? Well, by then, the people who were in the Nuremberg trials who created Hitler, who were excused and got off, they were in corporations. They were heading up corporations, and they paid the lobbyists, and the lobbyists got it into the Food and Drug Administration, and they made it the food pyramid. Before it was even tested, it was 6 months old. It was a 6-month-old paper, and they adopted it. And it took them 50 years to disown it. 50 years, while we are all fat. Not a single country in the world besides America adopted it as their food pyramid. And so now we're all dead, except for, the West and the UK. And now their, system can't handle it. People are dying off from obesity. That's the other thing, diabetes. She is diabetic. You can't reach that weight without being diabetic. It's just that happens. You don't escape it. They are guaranteed things that happen, and they will never tell you that. You will go on blood pressure medication. You will become diabetic. It will happen. It's such a guaranteed, and that's why the 1% love doing body positivity towards those weight, because it's a guaranteed payoff. It is a guaranteed you're on prescription meds. It's guaranteed that you will get sick. It's guaranteed you will be their patient for life, and they will make bank off of you. It's guaranteed physical therapy. It's guaranteed knee replacements for you. It's guaranteed all these things. It's guaranteed all these different pain meds, all the things that they make bank on. You are a guaranteed patient for life as an obese person. It means you become a customer of the medical industry. Stay healthy, stay moving, stay at a healthy weight, and you get to keep your wealth. Your paycheck doesn't become theirs. Wall Street is like, dang it, their paycheck stays in their bank account. Gain weight, and now a third of your paycheck becomes Wall Street's. I know, I lived it. It's not the way you want to go. So that's what the body positivity movement's all about. And I would encourage people having the conversation to have more conversation more towards that end instead of body shaming, because people who, it takes time. It's hard to lose the weight. And by the way, I want to tell you, like the way I've lost the weight, I'm addicted to sugar. Like I've learned that as much as I've gone through all these other, or not all these other, one addiction. My husband and I, we were raised on the food pyramid, and so we can't get over on it. We can't do it. We can't get off of a life of sugar. We just can't do it. And so what we do is we live on Ideal Protein, and we live on it for like 5 months at a time, and then we go on a break. and then 5 months at a time, and then we go on a break. We go on a break at Christmas, and then we go on a break at like spring or summer. You know what I mean? Like we take breaks, and sometimes, I mean, we kind of break it. Sometimes it's like 3 times a year, but it's a lot of weight for your body to lose. It's a lot of weight for your body to lose, and sometimes it can be rough on the body if you're on it for that long. And so we just take a break, and sometimes it's a week at a time, sometimes it's 3 weeks at a time. And Christmas is an excellent time for us to take the break, and then we just don't worry about it. We take the break. And we eat what we want, we drink what we want, we live like we used to at a time when we used to live like, you know, the whole 9 yards. I eat candy canes, I eat the whole 9 yards, whatever. And then I just go back to it. And yes, I have to go through ketogenesis and everything like that. I know my doctor wants me to fall in love with this other way of eating. And I do. I love this way of eating. I love the diet. I do really well in it. But to go back to eating mostly protein and learning that other thing, maybe I'll get there when I hit my actual target weight goal. But it is, well, actually my target weight goal keeps going down because of my spine. My spine is so weak that I'm going to have to go lower than most people. Most people would have stopped. Like my other alternative people think, oh, you've stopped by now, right? And I'm like, because this is the lowest I've ever been in my whole life. Like I'm at where I was in high school. You know, nope, my spine needs less. I have to go like 20 pounds, I think, or something. I don't know. I'm going to keep going until my Hollywood trainers tell me to go down. Not anorexic, but I just have to keep my spine is so weak. There's been 4 crushing accidents against it. But my point is that I used to think I was nauseous. I used to think that I wasn't eating all that much until I went on this protein diet. And I was like, I'm losing all this weight. And it turned out that, yeah, I wasn't eating all that much, but the nature of what I was eating just had so much sugar in it that it just added up. So am I eating, I'm still eating less a day. I don't know. So I'm happy when I'm on the diet, and I'm also happy when I'm off of the diet. So just when it starts to get close to the breaks, there comes a time where my body starts going, okay, I really want the sugar again. Like I'm on it for about 4 months, and then my body's like, all right, I really want the sugar again. And I'm like, great, time for a break. And I just wait for the break, and I'd make to do around Thanksgiving or wait to do it around Christmas. And so that's how we survive it. You know what I mean? We don't ever say to ourselves, we're never going off the sugar again. Sorry, we were raised on the food pyramid. It doesn't work that way. So that's what we do. Maybe that's terrible, but that's our survival technique, and it works for us. And so we have healthy bodies for most of the year. And I'll be honest, like we gain a lot of weight, and you can see it. That's the other amazing thing is that, boy, do you ever see what carbs do to your body when you go off the diet. You swell up immediately. You turn white and puffy, and oh my God, like you find out and you gain weight so fast, and you're like, oh, like this really is the worst diet in the world. And you find out how many places don't have any protein. You can go to a hotel, they don't sell any protein whatsoever. And you can see why they do that. Like, why is it that no one will sell you protein? Why won't they sell beef jerky anywhere? They used to sell beef jerky everywhere. Why have they removed that from the entire system? You think no one eats beef jerky? Bull. Especially with everyone on the ketogenic diet. With everyone being told by their doctors to lose weight. Why when you go into the big hospital cities in the world where everyone's being told to put on diets, are they not selling you any proteins in the room? Why are they only selling, Oreos and crackers? You know what I mean? Oh, they have SpaghettiOs, but they don't even have cheese. Because cheese you'd be able to eat. They really want you to go off your diet. It is really bad out there. They really, really want you to not go back to the way we lived before, which was healthy, which means you could live off of the 1% and you would be able to keep your wealth for yourself. But what's amazing is that if you actually do it, you have a shot at entering the elites. You have a shot at joining them at their table. Because you have a shot at making that money. Because once you start to look like them, once you lose weight, all of a sudden you lose that weight, you start dressing like vintage, and all of a sudden you look like a Hollywood star. You'd be shocked if you get down to a healthy weight and you start vintage shopping, you walk down the street, no one looks like that today. You look like a Hollywood star, and then people hire you at those rates. That's the secret to becoming elite. Not that you have to be an elite in character, but I'm saying, you want to get that money? That's the secret. You want to get good treatment in a hospital? I'm sorry. I mean, I really hate to break it to you, but I didn't know that. I didn't know that. And the doctors that's all they saw. And the only difference that changed my course of treatment, that's what I said in my How to Find a Good Doctor's video, the thing that changed my course of treatment is that I came into a doctor's office and she said, I'm going to assign you a diet. And I was like, okay. She's the only doctor that did that. She's like, ideal protein. She's like, you'll do it? And I was like, yeah. And she seemed shocked. And I was like, what? But she was the one that said it. She just was like, I'm giving you a diet. And I said, okay. I mean, I just was like, whatever you want. No doctor had ever been like, I need you to lose weight for treatment. I thought my weight was a result of my illness. I thought I had swollen up. You know? I just believe society. And it almost cost me my life, probably. Honestly, the procedures helped. But let's be honest. They wouldn't have given me the procedures if I hadn't lost the weight. I wouldn't have qualified. God, I just figured that out. I wouldn't have qualified for the procedures. And my knee was going to be replaced or whatever. They were going to do this huge procedure. I remember they wanted to do a huge procedure in my knee. And they said, but you have to get below this certain weight before you can get a procedure in my knee. But then I lost all this weight. And then they were like, oh, you don't have to get the knee. You don't even have to get it, any surgery on it. You lost so much weight. You went below. And then they're like, it's gotten so healthy, we don't even have to do surgery on it. And now they're doing all these draining of it and stuff like that. And now I have a knee that you wouldn't even know is injured. It's not even swollen. I'll have to do a video on that or whatever. But I got a really amazing doctor. I got a new doctor for the knee. And you wouldn't even know it's freaking done. This huge knee that looked like this massive, like someone ran over it with a truck that they said needed to be replaced immediately. Now it looks like a healthy new knee. That I know that's impossible to have happened without the weight loss. And they just don't want to tell you that because it makes them money. All right. I hope that helps. Those procedures cost money. If you want to go ahead, it's part of the reason I did my channel, just to help offset those medical bills. If you want to donate down below. Remember, I'm not like the rest of America. I have a whole lot of things wrong with me. I did have a normal number of things happen to me. That's why I have a unique YouTube channel. So you will not be like that. So especially now that you know about prescription meds, go save yourself that money. Ask your pharmacist, how much is this with cash? They'll probably be so glad that you finally asked them, or they'll be shocked at what it is. So it is really surprising. And make sure you call your parents and grandparents and the nursing home you work at and let them know about that trick, because man, they've done a good job of keeping that secret. So, all right. Love you guys. Bye.